if you want to live your dream life, you gotta have clarity on what we're going to share with you today. What we're going to share with you today is the foundation for anything that you experience and anything that you get to have in your life. If you want to create a breakthrough in any area of life, you gotta be clear on the things that we're going to share with you today. This is the foundation for everything you have in your life, for everything you get to experience in life. So that is why I'm so excited about this episode, because as mentioned, this is the foundation. This is where it all starts for yourself. Now, you can apply what we're going to share with you in any real life. And as usual, we're going to tie this especially to wealth and finances. And to bring clarity on this very important topic, I brought with me Marcy. Hi, Marcy.
Hi, Joachim. Thanks so much for having me on today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And I really appreciate that you joined, because you've done some important work on the topic that we're going to talk about today. And what we're going to dig into today is values, because values is really determining what we get to have and what we get to experience in our life. So any result that we have, it comes from taking actions. When the actions we take comes from the beliefs we have, and our beliefs and those dreams are really created by, like, what do we decide to focus on and who do we decide to show up as in any moment. So by being clear on our values, we can get to design our life. So we can get this awareness of who do we want to show up as, and then really get to design our life, design our experiences. And in this episode now, we're gonna give you clarity on how can we get there, what some tools, what some techniques, so we really can have that awareness and that consciousness for ourselves. Marcy, what is your experience with getting clarity on values and the meaning of this in your life?
That's a great question, Joachim. So I have done some work around values and discovering what my own values are and how they affect my life using the work of Dr. John Demartini. And in his formula, he actually has you really go through and answer a series of, I believe it's 13 questions to really understand like what your values are. And for me, that was incredibly enlightening, because something that's sort of been a theme throughout, all of my life really became apparent to me and brought a lot of awareness to that one of my personal highest values is learning. And while maybe I wasn't necessarily, the best student in school, or, maybe had some struggles and challenges there, that the curiosity I had and the love for learning was really like drives me forward throughout my life and has definitely shaped and changed the trajectory of my life. So I was able to get clarity on really like what some of my highest values are and how those have affected my past and brought me to where I am currently. And now that I have that, deeper awareness, I'm able to utilize those to sort of craft where it is that I want to go in the future, and how the things that are most important to me, how can I design a life really that's fulfilling to me and helps other people in the world, but that's based on the things that I value the most, so that I can prioritize those. So I've done a lot of work around that.
Yeah, and I really love what you say with making that decision on what is most important to me in my life. And the second thing you mentioned, which is key for people, like, okay, we're gonna share things with you now, how you can get awareness on this. And after you gotten clarity and maybe brainstorm a little bit for yourself about what is most important to you in your life, what you mentioned, Marcy, was prioritizing. And this is something that Tony Robbins made me aware of really looking at the order of the values as well. Because, okay, with values, like, okay, if someone value feeling wealthy as opposed to, for example, having that love and connection with family, no, I don't say that we can enjoy both wealth and family. Or looking at the order, it's going to be like two different kind of lifestyles, whether, and depending upon which one we put at the top of our list of values. So that's a key distinction you share there. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Awesome. Yeah.
And to help people getting some clarity on, because you mentioned it helped you a lot being aware of, okay, how can you design your life? And it's had a profound effect on my life as well, to be able to, in any moment, to be able to more often make conscious decisions on who do I want to show up as and what is most valuable in this moment. Like, what emotions do you want to feel? Because that's the most powerful values as well. It's when we get down to what is the emotions that I want to have. Like you mentioned, growth. You want to learn, you want to grow as a person. And what are some things that you learned that can help people getting clarity on what the values are or to choose them?
So I think if you want to know what your values are, start by asking yourself the questions. So asking better questions to yourself. Okay, like what does my life demonstrate? What sort of, things and people do I surround myself with? What do I spend my money on? What do I spend my time on? And really start digging in and, like grab a piece of paper, go ahead, like start writing some of these things down, asking yourself the question, and then really evaluating your life and look at that. And that will start to give you some clues when you can start to identify the patterns or identify similar things or similar categories of things, or even looking behind the common answers. If you notice a theme, but there's maybe still a little bit diverse, it's like, okay, well, what does this give me in my life? Or what does this mean to me? And you may find that there's actually something deeper underneath that. For me, I know, like, I noticed that my pets kept coming up a lot in my life, and yet I have, other, friends and family and things. But I feel like connection was a really, really important thing, because while, cats and dogs and everything, they're wonderful, it wasn't that I have, everything based just around animals. I love animals, but one of the biggest things that I get from being with animals is connection. And so I was able to sort of put that together and realize that connection is also another really important thing. And just taking a look at that, asking yourself the questions, looking at the patterns, looking at the themes, and just starting to bring awareness to that part of your life.
Yeah, this is so important. Yeah, getting to like the bottom of it, like you asked, like, what does this really give me, and getting to that end emotion. Because talking to many people, they might say, for example, I value my car, and yes, I understand your car has a certain value. You can sell it for a certain dollar amount, and the thing though is, you have that car because it gives you something. It gives you a certain emotion. Maybe it's freedom, maybe it's variety, feeling alive, maybe it's joy, some kind of pleasure. In getting to that end, as you mentioned, like, okay, you really value your cat. And at the same time, like, what does the cat give you? It's that connection. It's the emotion that we all are after. So getting to that kind of, what should we say, like root cause, root emotion is what really gonna serve you the most when you look at this, and when you brainstorm, when you look at what do you value in your life, what do you like to have in your life, what would you like to experience, where do you spend your money, why are you spending your money there, what does that give you? And going from the means, like from the vehicle, like the structure, what do you use, whether that's a pet, family, a car, a house, a vacation, and really get to the end there with what is the emotion that is really giving you. That's a key distinction that we really, that I found, and I can hear from you as well, Marcy, that it's okay, helping us getting that clarity. And I think we should build upon it here before we maybe share some other perspectives on the importance of values.
Just that if it's something that you haven't done in your life thus far, it can in fact be one of the most powerful transformative things or exercises that you may ever do with yourself. Like you said, because it's so important, it runs so deep and it controls so many things and aspects of our life that maybe we were not aware of, that just the importance of it, I wanted to just sort of hit home on again.
Yeah, it is. This is like really the core of creating a life. Yeah, so I really agree. It can be one of the most transformative experiences for people. And I know you mentioned Dr. John DeMartini as one of your
Yes.
mentors, and I know he's been he's an advocate of this as well, of being really clear on your values, because when we are conscious about that, of our values and what we want to accomplish and experience, we can fill over time, we can fill our schedule with things that are important to us, that are of high value. Because if we don't, you remember what he says, if we don't fill
Yes.
our own schedule with high valuable things?
Yes, that it will fill up with low value, low priority things.
Yeah. So that is one other like benefit of being clear and having this consciousness, that you get to design your life, you get to fill your schedule with what's most important to you.
Yes.
And
I think that also
yeah, go ahead.
I think that also fits in nicely with, how do your values align with your goals? And aligning those with your goals, because if something isn't in alignment, or you're going after and you're chasing a goal
Mm.
and it's not in alignment with your values, oftentimes you'll feel that sort of like inner, disharmony going on, or something's just off. Or when you reach that goal, maybe it doesn't feel as, fulfilling as you thought it might. So curious to also know your thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, I experienced that many times. Reaching a certain checkbox or milestone, and you arrive there at that finish line, and you end up asking, I end up asking myself, is that all there is?
Yeah.
Whether that's like, okay, hosting an event, serving people at an event, serving a client, helping a client having a breakthrough. When I'm focusing on that checkbox, it ends up being a really empty feeling, actually, because it's focusing on that mean of that vehicle, that strategy, as opposed to the end result, like the emotion. Because if I can, or when I do actually connect to that emotion and seeing the impact that it has, it's a totally different experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being able to articulate these emotions and being clear about that is also what's going to help you really shifting your financial situation around and attracting even more wealth to go to the next level, and creating a portfolio of investments that are going to pay for your desired lifestyle. Because wealth, as Dr. John DeMartini is saying as well, is that wealth and money goes to stability, it goes to certainty. So we will make the most wealth and money when we are emotional stable. So the less fluctuations we have in our emotions, the more stable we are, the more certainty we can have in our circumstances, the more wealth, the more money we are going to attract. Warren Buffett talks about this as well, that emotions will lose your money, and a strategy will make you money. So by being able to create and design your life around the values, around the things that are most important to you, that's going to bring in wealth into your life. And I really liked Brené Brown's insights and perspectives on this about language, because being able to write this down is really about being able to utilize language, because we have to articulate this, we have to write it down. And Brené Brown says that language is a portal to meaning making, to connection, to healing, to learning, and self-awareness.
I love that.
I'll say that again because it's so important. Language is a portal to meaning making, connection, healing, learning, and self-awareness. I marked the last word there, self-awareness. In order to get the self-awareness, we need to use language. We need to write down what are those emotions. And Ludwig Wittgenstein, he also said this, that the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. So if you can articulate what emotions you're going to go after, that means you can craft your life. Having that clarity on your emotions, on the values, you get to fill your schedule with what's most important to you and attract into your life what you really want. Marcy, before we do a recap of all the insights we shared. Any other remarks that we should bring up?
Actually, a thought had triggered in me as we were talking about, creating goals that, really tie into the core emotions and our priorities and the things we want to feel. And there's a great book actually called The Desire Map. I'm trying to think of the author's name. I think at least it was by Danielle something. And the Desire Map spoke to that, where figuring out how is it that I want to feel at the end of, the year, or at the end of achieving a goal. And I feel like that it might be a helpful tool for someone if they want to go and, create their goals and align that with their values, align that with how they want to feel, to really just bring that extra, layer into their life. So that's just a little tidbit of something that came to my mind.
I like that name, the Desire Map. That is really enticing and making me curious.
Yeah.
So I hope those of you who listen, that you go and you create your own Desire Map, that you elicit your values and really think about the end means. And Marcy shared some tools that she learned. Would you mind quickly mentioning some of them, Marcy? Some things the questions they could ask to get clarity on what their values might be?
Sure. So taking a look at your environment. So what do you spend your time on? What do you spend your money on? What sorts of things do you surround yourself with? Because if you look at your life will demonstrate your values in different ways. What sorts of books do you tend to gravitate to when you go to the library? I think those are some great places to start, some great questions to ask yourself, and taking a look at how you have shaped your life thus far, and seeing sort of the patterns and things between that.
I would like to add upon that with, because these are great questions. So thanks for bringing those. And also, well, who do you hang out with, and what kind of topics are you taking the discussions to? Because that would also say something about what you're interested in and what you really value. So by being aware of your values, you can get to create your life, because that means you can fill up your time with what's most important to you. And especially when we go to the end means here of to the emotions that we're really after, that's going to help us experiencing the life that we want to be and make decisions of who we want to show up as. And especially in finances, with wealth, the more emotionally stable we can be, and we will be able to do that by crafting our values, making conscious decisions on who we're going to show up as. Then we can attract more money, because money goes to stability and certainty. Marcy, it's been a pleasure having you back on, and I really love this. Maybe we should go even deeper. That's up to you who listens. Let us know what your biggest key takeaway was from this episode. Marcy, thanks for joining, and let's do the Ka-ching move.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Ka-ching. And while we're on, I want to make a reminder to everyone that in August, we are doing a crypto challenge, 5-day freedom by investing in crypto. You can join. I'm going to drop the link here as well in the comments. So make sure you check that out if you want to unlock our exact strategy or exact step-by-step approach to know what to invest in and when to invest and how to secure your profits. That's the most important thing. And we're looking forward to seeing you on that journey. So secure a spot while those are available. The link will be in the comments for you. Okay, see you guys.
Please be aware, we are no financial advisors. We do not provide any advice. We only share our experience, and our results are not typical. If we mention any stocks, funds and other type of investments, it is for educational and illustrational purposes only. Most people are unable to achieve similar results to ours. If you want to achieve similar results, you have to commit yourself to systemize, to learn and to stick to the rules.